Because wait, what? Why does it have 2 links? Oh, because yeah. It's just don't even worry about it. All right. Shh. Question number 1. Let's go through it together. Remember, like right now you're writing this stuff down so that you have way less homework. So do you have paper out and the pen and you're ready? Okay. Number 1. Shh. Question number 1A. It says, describe one important function of political parties as a linkage institution in elections. And our group put a link. And nominating was going to be my first choice. So, you know, can I show you like how to write a proper FRQ? You're not going like this. You know, you're going to, I mean, like in real life, you're saying political parties serve an important purpose in America as a linkage. I probably don't need to capitalize that. One important function they serve is nominating candidates for office. Let's look back at the key. Running, recruiting. We'll just add one more sentence. They recruit and help candidates win office. That's an appropriate A that would get a point. I'm not gonna like do that continually, maybe, but so they also provide information to voters about topics. Like the Democratic Party will say, like, here's why we think abortion is okay, like a woman's right to blah, 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 and they explain. They also raise money, and they provide distinct political choices to voters. So the second one I like is, let's see. So you only need to say one, right? So they also provide info about issues to voters. Should I start writing more succinctly? But you'll understand that on the FRQ you need to write more detail. Yeah? Or do you like the Robinson doing detail thing? Or do you have no opinions? Okay, next up, we just learned this, so it should be fresh in your brain. Describe the influence of the media on the electoral process in regards to these following rules: gatekeeping and agenda setting. So I'm just not even going to look at the key right now. The media acts as a gatekeeper. They pick and choose which topics to cover in the news, and their coverage or lack of coverage has a big impact on what Americans and our government thinks is important. They help set the agenda for the country in the, I don't know, by choosing what to report on. Yo.
You don't need to be that descriptive on the outline.
You, not on the outline. I just want to be, I'm trying to set a good example to show you. In class, you better be writing this much. Because a kid that writes, like, they pick and choose what to cover, period, and they move on, it's like, that's a kid that memorized the key, and I'm worried they don't have any actual understanding of the topic. Are you done with your homework? Not quite?
I guess so. I already...
Did you do that thing where you write the sentence? Is that on there? And you draw a picture? Yeah, you better do that one. That's the longest one. Okay, scorekeeping. The media acts as a scorekeeper. Let's check the key and see what kind of wording they want. But I know that it's like polls and who's winning and that kind of thing. Is that literally?
Yeah.
Who's winning? Rather than focusing on policy issues. So that sounds like horse race journalism. They keep track, and maybe parentheses, especially during elections, of who is winning and who is polling higher and lower. This is called horse race journalism. The downside is that they neglect talking about actual issues. So this is a good amount of writing. This is the kind of stuff I'm hoping to see. It looks small when you type it, but if this was on a piece of paper, it would like fill up the paper.
Papa,
Yep.
I remember when I went to this kind of test.
You did?
Remember when I collected all the papers in the little bucket?
Oh yeah?
Where they made all that? Remember that test?
I don't remember. Oh, is that what it was?
Secret Santa.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Some of those students are in here right now. Yeah, you were my little helper, huh? Okay, question C. Describe two strategies interest groups. Oops. Describe two strategies interest groups use to influence the electoral process. Let's check the key. Here's the thing, and this is why I'm checking the key. Not like, so you're picturing interest groups and you're thinking of what they do, and you're like, oh, they lobby and stuff. But look at the question. It needs to be linked to influencing the electoral process. Is lobbying about nuclear waste influencing the electoral process? No. So be careful that your answer, that's why I'm checking the key. Be careful that your answer does, see how it says lobbying, but it must be linked to the electoral process? So let's do, I always say let's do the easy ones, like why make it hard? Giving money, endorsing candidates, like with report cards and stuff. If they give A, like if the NRA gives you an A, they're endorsing you, so let's do that. One way they do this, oh, I shouldn't say they, and this. One way interest groups influence elections
Papa,
is, what's
how
that?
do you spell love?
L-O-V-E. I know. What are you writing?
I love my family.
Oh. Did you do that sentence before, though?
No.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I did. I love my brother.
Brother.
And then I did. I love my brother. He loves me.
Shouldn't you try, why don't you try something brand new? Something different. Even though I love that you love your family. What's another word you know? I look at, I love Papa's work.
No,
I love my blankie.
I love you.
Okay. One way interest groups influence decisions is, is it donating money to candidates? Yeah. Giving money.
Well, Papa, when we touched so much, well, I did forget the how to level already.
The L-O-V-E. And donate, we're all writing essays. His is 5 words long, but. You remember when your homework was that? I don't.
It was 3 words.
Do you remember?
It was like, yeah, 3 words.
Yeah. By the end of I think by the end of kindergarten or first grade, he needs to be able to put together like a few sentences.
Do they still do AR reading?
Yeah. I'm trying to get him there. He needs to get to like second grade sight words to do it. But we're in the middle. He's in kindergarten, but we're in the middle of first grade sight words. Okay. One way interest groups influence elections is giving money to candidates. Interest groups form PACs and donate up to $5,000 to candidates. They do this so they can later have access to them in order to get laws passed that benefit them. So we have it linked to the electoral process because it's people running for election. This helps candidates, often incumbents, win election. See how detailed my answer is? Are you being this detailed when you write it? What's up, Wesley? Yeah. Who's fruit gummying up my title? Is that an animal or something? Wesley, I can't get a whole lot bigger, but if you have a computer, you can just go there and see me doing this. I don't hear him, but okay. I need another way. So another way they influence elections. I said they, but I did already say the word interest group. So another way they influence elections is through endorsing, or what's the opposite of endorsing? Roasting? Opposing candidates for office. For instance, the NRA creates a report card where they rate candidates from an A+ to an F depending on their stance on gun control. Their ratings influence the outcome of the election. Okay. I'm not going to do this detail, I don't think, for other ones. I want to show you what a good FRQ looks like. And how you're being a little extra and you're showing off, you're flexing your muscle about your other knowledge you have. Like when I say, often incumbents benefit, like that's flexing my muscle. And you want to do that in order to get the best score possible on the big AP Gov test. Question D. Explain how, according to critics, interest groups limit representative democracy. Well, the area I would go is that like you're buying access, but let's see. There we go. An overrepresentation of elites and their interests, the rich people. Interest groups can be negative for democracy because the wealthy are essentially buying access to congressmen, and this isn't fair to the majority of Americans who don't have resources. That's good. Okay, if that was handwritten on line paper, it would reach the back page for sure. More than that, I think it would get halfway down the back page. So, that's about what it looks like. Oh, okay, yeah. We got 28 minutes. That's question number 1. We're going to jump ahead to question number 3. What should I do? Because a lot of you guys are not ready. Should I jump ahead or? Yeah?
I guess jump ahead.
You think?
Yeah.
Okay. Good idea. Hey, what do you want for Christmas?
It's a secret.
It's a secret?
Wait, you want me to tell you so you know what to get me?
Sure.
Well, I want a new Pikachu game and...
A new Pikachu game? What's it called?
I don't know.
Sword and Shield?
Oh, yeah.
Does anyone have Sword and Shield? Can I get an explanation of what kind of a game is it?
It's just like...
How is it different from... We have Let's Go Pikachu.
Okay, so Let's Go, the mechanics are like you throw the Pokeball physically, but like with the with Sword and Shield, it's a different storyline. So
So
you're not like physically throwing the Joy-Con. You're like...
Is it like a good game?
It's a good game, but I feel like, how old are you? 5?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let me put it this. Well, with Let's Go Pikachu, like he never even like saves his game, and so it's like it doesn't even.
Let's Go is catered more towards younger audiences, but like.
So this one's even harder.
Sword and Shield, it's like meant for like players that like have actually
More
been
advanced.
playing since like Gen 1.
Ooh, okay.
A real game like God of War.
What the heck? Okay, good. That was a good review. That was good.
I'd be a terrible coach.
Wait, what else does he want?
An athlete.
Some kind of owl that flies and spins?
Oh, like the thing that you put your hand under?
I think so. Adelaide? Owlies? Owlies. Okay, what else?
No, actually, you feed it, you love it, then you put it on the thing, it flies.
Okay. Anything else?
Uh,
One more thing.
what else?
Bro, that book is so crusty.
Okay, Sid, you're good.
I want to know!
Another game? How about Luigi's Mansion?
Oh, yeah.
I want to play it.
Actually, I was hoping to get rabbit number 2.
I don't think there is a rabbit's number 2.
Okay, then I think Smash Bros.
All right, question 3. There's no Smash Brothers number 2.
Yes, there is! Yes, there is!
There's not. There's old ones.
No, there's new ones, too.
Okay, I'll look into it.
And
Or
there's another one, and there's another one on the Nintendo. I really want it. It's a new game.
okay, go sit.
I am already done with my homework,
Okay, use that then.
Like the
All right, question 3. Hey, honey, I need you out of my hair. Where's this? Go sit at your desk. Okay, question 3. It says, describe each of the following techniques and explain why an interest group would choose that technique. Ooh, I like it. Okay, question 3. This is A. I already explained. Okay. Litigation. This is, what is it, guys? Filing lawsuits. I'm now going to write it in outline form instead of in fancy form. Filing lawsuits. An example is Brown v. Board. Actually, I might be jumping the gun here because it's kind of you see it's an answer down below. Example is Brown v. Board was filed by the NAACP to put an end to school segregation. I need you to go sit or turn the volume way down. I can never find the dang. Yeah, there you go. Cállate la boca. All right. We jump ahead to you have to explain each one. Campaign contribution. Guess what, guys? I just talked about it up here, so I'm gonna copy paste.
Oh my god.
I know. I'm sorry. Because I have the answers memorized. You don't. That's why. Okay, and lastly, way harder. Grassroots lobbying. Do you remember what this is? Or could you figure out from the word mass mobilization? Okay, it does start small and it gets big, but what is that? Can you give me an example? Like, how do I write an answer? What does that mean? I can't write it start small and like, because what is it? A movement. Good. Can we? Okay, excellent. Okay. And example of this is when a movement begins small and grows bigger. For instance, people call their local. I'm getting a call from Washington, D.C.
Wow.
We should answer it just.
Yes. Speaking Spanish.
Hello. 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 This is her husband. This is not her cell phone. Who's calling? A poll. Oh, you want to ask Sean, her husband? You could ask Sean. Oh. Okay, I'm a government teacher. I have a room full of government kids. What can I just, off the record, what kind of questions are you asking? Political questions. How exciting.
I would have never guessed.
About About the primaries. Dang, I wish you were asking me. The kids would love to hear what kind of questions you have to ask. Wait, hold on. Let me get Kimberly. Oh, here she. Hi, it's me, Kimberly. Hi. Okay, I'm ready. The Democratic primaries. Yeah, in the primaries, whether it's Democrat or Republican, I will definitely vote yes for one of those. Yes. Right. Oh gosh. I can't answer that question. I'm in front of a bunch of students. And so, have a great day. Thank you for calling. You can call back in an hour and I'll tell you. Okay, bye.
What was the question?
She asked me who I'm going to vote for. How fun, see? So that was a good example, right? So this is how they do polls to see how California's going to vote.
I bet you timed that.
I did not. And it said DC too. What are the odds? And I was totally going to hang up. I said hello like 6 times.
When you were, as your wife, you lost your voice.
I lost my voice. She asked me, do I know who I'm going to vote for in the primary? So. Huh?
Who are you gonna vote for?
Why? What happened? Should I be worried?
Someone.
What the?
Is that one guy?
What's injustice?
I think I saw. Oh, you're Batcon. Okay. Where did the name come from?
Huh?
Where does the name come from?
I made it in 6th grade.
That's it. It's just from that. Okay. All right, Grassroots. That was cool though. You got to see. Literally, they're asking questions in a scientific way. They're trying to call a mix of people. She really wanted Kimberly, but the fact that she was willing to accept my answers as Kimberly, that shows the poll is not so good. Okay. But yeah, anyway, that's cool. She was like, change your voice a little more so I could. You couldn't hear it. She change your voice a little more so I can go with it. But yeah. Okay, for instance, people call their local congressmen and complain about police shooting unarmed African American men. This might lead to a big movement like Black Lives Matter. Remember how I was supposed to do outline? And I didn't? Okay. Okay, but it's because I want to make sure you understood what grassroots lobbying is. It's anything grassroots starts small and grows big. You ever see grass when it's growing and it's like tiny little alfalfa sprouts and then it eventually leads to like nice thick grass you can walk all over? It's a movement that starts small and leads to nice thick grass. Snowball effect. Letter B. Bless you. Select one of the following and tell me what strategy they use from the list above. Select one of the following and tell me what do they use. Do they use litigation? Do they use campaign contributions? Or do they use grassroots lobbying? You could get this wrong if you choose like, what's one? If you say the NAACP does campaign contributions, that's wrong. What does the NAACP do? That's right. They file lawsuits like Brown v. Board. What do you think the NRA does? Campaign contributions. And they also do mass mobilization. They get their... Is it on the key? I don't know. But they definitely get their people. Did I even click the key for this? No. Where is it at? NAACP or NRA. There we go. Grassroots. That's what I thought. So they do grassroots too. What else we got? Sierra Club. Do you know what that is? Environmental group. They do lawsuits and they do grassroots. So you can get this wrong if you say the wrong thing. The American Medical Association. That's just like fighting for doctors. What do? Campaign contributions only. All right, and that's just from the key. Of course, you need to write that out and explain. I would talk in depth about Brown v. Board, like flex your muscles, show what you know. They provided a free lawyer. Thurgood Marshall if you really want to impress people, right? That's the end of 3.
Oh, girl.
Let's look at, just for fun, let's look at number 6. Just for fun, no particular reason. 6 is a lot like the question we just did. But there are some different parts. All right, let me ask you.
Okay.
What 2 parts of the Bill of Rights protect people that want to influence politics? What's the most obvious one? Yeah, First Amendment. Oh, you know what? The way this is worded allows you to double up on the First Amendment. Let's look at the key. Look at this. Look at the key. They allow you, like, if you didn't know this, you'd really be struggling because you'd have to pull this one out. But look at this. This is all the First Amendment. So you can get it right and just use the First Amendment a bunch of times if you word it the right way. Understand? Let's go back. The question is, what parts of the Bill of Rights allow you to influence politics? Freedom of speech does. Do I need to explain? It's your rights to protest and promote candidates, etc. Okay, also, your freedom, or maybe right, I don't know. Right to petition. Petition is complaining to your government. This is basically like lobbying. Let me see if does the key have details or it's just a list? Oh, it does have it. Allows citizens to address the government. I mean, it feels kind of silly to write something that's a click away for you. But yeah. What else do I like? I think this last one would be really hard to get the points. So, yeah. I think speech and petition are the best and most related to this unit. But you could talk about press and you could talk about assembly. Let's jump to part B. And look at how B looks a lot like the question we just had. Interest groups engage in a variety of activities. Explain how each of the following is used. We already have grassroots. Did we do lobbying? Was lobbying on number 3? No. So I'm not going to talk about grassroots, okay? I'm just going to jump to, so like grassroots is already above. Lobbying. So how do interest groups lobby? Interest groups lobby. I don't know. Government, Congress. Let's check the key and see if they want me to be really specific. Policymakers. Yep. Interest groups lobby the government, such as Congress, to try to have laws passed that benefit the interests. Always like to have an example. For instance, the NRA lobbies Ken Calvert so that he passes gun protection laws or doesn't vote for gun control. Cool. Litigation we did. And then we do have a new question on C, something we haven't addressed yet. I will give you a moment to catch up. Grammar suggestion. We have 11 minutes. Letter C says, describe one specific federal regulation of interest groups. What's something they have to, what's a limit or a law they have on them? Permit, let's rephrase it. You're not quite off, but it might be enough to get it wrong. How do you get a permit? You need to register. We'll say lobbyists representing interest groups must register with the federal government in order to, I don't know, how do we phrase? Interact with congressmen. Did I click on this? There's other stuff too. They have to like, Congress has to show where their money came from, like who donated it. That's why we went to that one website. So like, if it helps you, gotta show where Congress donations came from. Think about that one Calvert website I showed you, where we could tell who donated money to him. There's limits on gifts. We talk about that. Remember when you were little and you liked an excuse to get up and walk around?
Yes.
Now you just want to take naps all day?
Yes. Gosh, you know me so well.
Especially when it's cloudy.
Yes.
You gonna go home and take a nap today?
Heck yeah. Yeah.
6 is done.
Yay.
We could probably fit another one in here before our time is up. I think let's jump to the last one because it's so random. It's about third-party candidates. I have a little picture, right? It's Clinton and Trump and a toilet.
What?
The toilet represents third parties, and it's voting. Why is the toilet third parties?
Kind of like representing other collected.
Yes.
What? I think you're closest that I've heard so far. Voting for the toilet, is it going to make a difference?
No.
What are you really doing with your vote?
We're gonna get it.
Flushing it down the drain. Okay. So let's look at it. Number 9. Describe the point of view expressed in this cartoon. The author thinks that voting for a third-party candidate is equivalent to throwing your vote away. Flushing down the drain. I think we should give a little explanation. The reason for this is that no third-party candidate has won the presidency in recent history, except for Lincoln. That's not very recent. That's why I changed it to recent history instead of ever. Lincoln was the first Republican, by the way. Created the Republican Party. B. Identify and explain how 2 rules in the United States keep minor parties from winning elections. We talked about this in the multiple choice test. What are 2 rules that keep minor parties? What's the Electoral College rule? Winner take all. What that means is you need to really properly explain this. I've given this FRQ in years past, and kids say winner take all, but they can't tell me what that means, and they lose the point. So winner take all, I'm going to say, for example, in California, in order to get any electoral votes from the 50, is it 57 or 55? 55? I'm like adding the senators. To get any points from the 55, I guess I'll just say points. You must get a majority or plurality of the votes in that state. Because that is incredibly difficult for minor parties, we're going to phrase this the right way. Check out my phrasing. They rarely even win a state, despite sometimes doing well on the popular vote. So you can do well on the popular vote and have 0% of the electoral votes. Ross Perot did that. I think we looked at, he got like 18 or 19%. In the 1990s, it was like, wow, good job. And he got 0 electoral votes. That's kind of sad. But that's only one thing. I have to talk about another thing. What's another thing? This one's hard to explain. Both of these are hard to explain. Yeah, single member district system. Let's look at the key. See if there's anything easier. Did I click on even the right thing? Did I click on the right key for 9? It says question 3. Okay. Oh, there is a bunch of other options. But, so, I'm not going to type out single member district because it's hard to understand, hard to explain in an FRQ. But it is the best reason why. It's the same thing as the electoral college, but on a small district level. You need to win a majority of votes in a district in order to get a seat, and third-party people can't do that. But let's just go with something really simple. They have a hard time getting on the ballot in the first place. When you go vote for president, you're 18 next year, you might not see the Green Party on there. They might have not qualified to be on the ballot. Also, they might not be invited to presidential debates. Tell me the name of a third-party candidate that you can think of. What's your name? Jill? Jill what? Jill Stein, thank you. Jill Stein did not get invited to any of the debates. So we'll say candidates for third party are often not on state ballots at all, and they often don't qualify to be invited to the presidential debates. And question C, letter C. Minor parties do good things, though. They do good things. What's a good thing they do, guys? What's that? Oh. Yeah, they could. Is that a good thing? Let's see. You know that, yeah, in the past, I changed this question and changed it from good things to just like what impact do they have? That allows kids to say they act as a spoiler. So we can write they act as a spoiler, but you need to be able to explain what that means. They steal votes away from the candidates that are most similar to them. Jill Stein kept Hillary from being president. But if you want to talk about positives, the issues they bring up, maybe wouldn't have otherwise been addressed. They give random Americans, I can't spell, a reason to participate and get excited. All right, this stuff's on the key though. You can hear from the rustling that people are kind of ready to go. I only was able to go over 4. Was it 4 of them? Is that right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna stop the recording.